We applaud the synergy of the authority and commission to ensure effective compliance of 2021 PIA by the formation of the guidelines and regulations in conjunction with the host communities of Nigeria, HostCom, who are the mouthpiece and the umbrella body of the grassroots in the day-to-day consultation within a short period of taking over the mantle of leadership after enactment of 2021 PIA by our dear lovely President, President Buhari. The 2021 PIA has given cognizance to the producing and directly impacted communities as a major critical component and stakeholders of the hydrocarbon industry investment. Oil and gas is not only found in the Niger Delta region, but also in the northern parts of this country, which was commissioned a few days ago. The western part of this country, we have oil and gas. And the eastern part of this country, we have oil and gas. And there was no mistake that this umbrella body, over 23 years ago, named themselves Oil and Gas Producing Communities of Nigeria. We know that in time to come, oil will be discovered in every part of this country. Praise the Lord. The oil and gas sector has Ipman, Nupeng, Pengasin as the voice of the petroleum engineers, while the NLC, TUC all speak for the larger group of their interests. So also is the host community directly impacted. Communities are represented by HostCom as the umbrella body and mouthpiece of the grassroots. We leave you to imagine and think about reaching out to more than 3,600 communities simultaneously for the effective dissemination of information to address cogent issues that we must think about.
We want to thank the present government particularly for the PIA that was signed into law in August 2021, that's last year. Because of the journey it went, I was particularly involved when it started as the downstream gas bill, and that was during the period between 2005 to 2007, and how it was frustrated. So for a government to sign the PIA, which happens to be an improved version of what started in the past, deserve our commendation. It is important for HostCom and other bodies like this, to come together and collaborate on how to enforce or to insist on the implementation of the PIA. That is important. How do we come together to enforce those principles? How do we come together to enforce those laws? Until we come together and have a group that is strong enough, that is determined, that's good intentioned to see to the implementation of some of these principles, what is contained in that document may not see the light of day. Because, as it were, there are forces that are out to either sabotage or to compromise the good intention of government. Some of the communities, talking about host communities, most of these communities are expectant, not knowing what to do. And that's why host community is very, very important, to leverage on that vacuum. Because there are small communities that may not have people that will speak for them. There are communities that are even subjugated by rival communities. So HostCom has a great role to play in ensuring that even communities that do not have people that can speak for themselves, HostCom can also come in and close that gap by speaking for those that cannot speak for themselves. Host communities that do not have people that are educated, people that are enlightened, people that do not know what the PIA contains. You can step into the gap and ensure that the interest of such people is also being protected. not only people that have understanding, not only people that can engage operators, because operators deliberately, we have seen in the past where operators deliberately want to oppress. We will expect that the regulators will do well to also protect the interest of communities. When regulators see themselves as partners, in progress or in crime with regulators and not addressing the issues of violation, then means that they have also abused their own duty of protecting not only the interest of the government, but also the people that they have sworn to protect. If you look at the preamble of our constitution, it said, we, the people of Nigeria. We, the people of Nigeria. So the constitution itself clearly is there to protect we, the people of Nigeria.
The PIA, as it were, in section 331, did not totally throw away all existing laws of the Federal Republic that is related to oil and gas operation. Insofar as it is consistent with the Act, it is retained. So those areas of the old laws, Petroleum Act, that have become antagonistic to the law have been vacated by the PIA. And that gives us a good basis for us to go forward and progress on the activities of oil and gas. The only missing link was the fact that there was no document speaking to the interest of host community in previous legislations. The federal government of Nigeria has affirmed its commitment to ending the practice of gas flaring in Nigeria by the year 2030. In furtherance of this effort, the federal government policy trust in achieving its flare out is demonstrated by policy initiatives under the 7 big wins, which we are all very familiar with. Part of it has been mentioned in passing by previous speakers. 1, policy and regulation. Business environment and investment drive. Number 3, gas revolution. 4, refineries and local production capacity. 5, Niger Delta and security. 6, transparency and efficiency. Number 7, stakeholder management and international coordination. With the government having all this at the back of their mind, establishing NUPRC and NNDPRA was an effort by government to ensure that focus on the production of crude oil, which is the upstream, is more tenacious and becomes a center point for the NUPRC's activities, and the midstream and downstream areas, which we believe in the past have been a little bit less ventured into and regulated. So government created the NNDPRA to ensure that there's more focus, there's more energy in the midstream and downstream sector of the Nigerian economy. The government has in recent years invested heavily in the Ajaokuta-Kaduna-Kano gas pipeline. Because if you must bring down the gas itself is a necessary evil of oil exploitation. What we were doing in the past, allowing it to waste, can no longer be sustained. And it's not sustainable in the light of the current investment strategies that the government has accepted and adopted. So the flares will go down, but rather than going to waste, the government has decided that this gas will be taken and put into systems where industries, gas-based industries, will utilize them. It will be sent to homes and communities, and it will be utilized for energy generation in terms of independent power supply power programs that the government itself has supported through gas to power, dump gas projects, and all other projects that the federal government has saddled itself with the responsibility of ensuring its success. So, mini LNGs, these are some of the strategies of government to ensure that mini LNGs, investment in these areas come into the country, and the products of these mini LNGs, which are far-reaching, will be of greater importance and benefit to all the nook and crannies of this country. So we are not going to be relying on one major LNG facility, but we are going to have many LNGs that will take this gas from the stack, from the flare stack, monetize them, generate employment, provide opportunities for people all over the country, give everybody a sense of belonging, and put us on the map of the world, moving us away from the first to the bottom of countries that have been flaring gas. And that is already an information that is in the public domain. If you check the International Energy Agency website, maybe 15 years ago, you find us in number 2 as one of the worst gas flaring countries in the world. If you go to the same website right now, as we speak, you are going to find us around number 7 or 9. So we are moving out of 1 to 10 of the countries that flare the most gas in the world. So some countries that were ahead of, that were below us before are now become our seniors in terms of gas flaring. That shows you that we are making great strides. We are achieving great strides in ensuring that we bring down this multitude, these mass volumes that are either to being pumped into the air, wasted, and we are using it better for the country itself. So between then and now, we have reduced our flaring volumes by more than 75%.
It is obvious that past efforts made by government and executed through the agency and private sector through industry operators to address challenges with host communities only achieve very minimal successes. It is for this reason that was particularly excited that at the passage of the PIA 2021 as it is lifetime strategy that promises to bring renewed hope by ushering in far-reaching reform, backed by proper implementation strategies. It is the reason why we are at the Commission and passionate about successful driving the implementation processes. Amid with the provision of the PIA, Host Community Development Trust framework, the Commission has indeed moved ahead with the implementation of the requirements of the relevant provision to deliver on its mandate, as seen by major and critical milestones achieved within the short time frame. The effect of this strategy, which are aimed at ensuring the effective implementation of the provision, will become obvious in coming months. Some of the Commission activities include gazetting and publication of Nigerian Upstream Host Community Development Regulation in July 2022, after a series of engagements with industry stakeholders. Engagement and collaboration with relevant agencies such as Corporate Affairs Commission to facilitate incorporation of trust. For example, the Department of State Security to facilitate the verification of characters and integrity of Board of Trustee members, and the National Boundary Commission to ensure the inclusion of littoral communities to a settler areas of operation based on sound science, to mention just a few. Setting up the implementation team currently driving the digitalization of the application process, the host community development team to handle the process of implementation and attendance, fallout, and the compliance and enforcement team to host community development implementation to ensure strict compliance to all stakeholders, including settlers and host community, among others. Developing of implementation tools, constitution templates, Nigerian Upstream Host Communities Development Guideline, draft stage, application for incorporation approval template, and the recent move from digitalization to automation of the host community development implementation process. Approval of over 50 host community development trusts for incorporation with minimal challenge from host communities. Ongoing sensitization program on several media platforms. A plan to scale up the sensitization process across the country is underway. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is worthy of note that just a chapter 3 of the PIA and the implementation guideline are set to create solutions for sustained integration and development of host communities. The Act has also placed effective and efficient governance structure with clear and distinct responsibility for operators, host communities, and regulators to ensure transparency, good governance, accountability, and inclusion. These structures are growth of the industry and stemming the nefarious activities of vandal and thieves. Finally, while the PIA has provided a veritable platform for sustainable host community development, we as stakeholders need to jointly ensure it is fully optimized. It is often said that there are no perfect laws, policy, instruments, since there are no perfect human beings, implementations. But we have a duty for the interest of our overall economic prosperity to ensure that the letter of the PIA as relates to the development of host communities are fully implemented to achieve desired objectives.
You know, the reason why we put up this office, because the whole operations is taking place in the creeks. Yes, we have our headquarters in Warri, and we need to interface with the government of the day and operators. They are the regulators. The regulators are residing here in Abuja. How can you have day-to-day engagement with them? We must be closer to them. And that's the reason why we have this liaison office. This liaison office is to interface with them in order to check the imbalances. We'll be reporting to them. They will report it to us. Some of the crises, we'll be going down to the communities. And to tell you more, the government has prepared enough for the host communities. That is happiness. That's the reason they came up today to do what they do, to tell us what they have for us and what their plans are. So I think it's the best we could have from 1968 to date, the best host community has had. And this office I'll be standing in. Well, small, but tomorrow we're going to have our own personal BD in Abuja for the communities producing oil and gas. After seeing a struggle for over 25 years, our struggle in Niger Delta for the emancipation of our host communities, the 1 million miles in 2000, today are given a rebirth. A rebirth in the sense that we, the oil and gas communities, has been recognized by the governments of their country, Nigeria. Not just recognition, but we have been enshrined into a law that 3% operating cost to be given to host community. You could imagine and think about it. In 2001, I have open fights for communities' sustainable development in the National Assembly. It was an absurd look, but it has been paid off. Today, host community have been recognized by the federal government. You can see we have an office here. And the operators and the regulators were in attendance to ensure that there should be continuity and sustainability of community engagement has been laid down. So that is the happiness a man who grew up and married, have his wife, and impregnated the wife. That is not an issue. Then the wife gave birth to what? A son. And the happiness of that man, looking at the top of his roof, that the struggle, the beginning, has paid off. So we're having the bouncing baby boy for host communities.